Hello and welcome back to Tony Northeastern, and for another episode on building South Shield Station. What we have in front of you is a Class 416 EMU in BR Green, which is just a recent addition to the layout. Now, if you'd watched the historical video I did a while back regarding this station, these units ran between Newcastle and South Shields, and even on the North Tyneside routes. This is not a northeastern region unit. This is a southern region unit. I've got a little bit of work to do on this unit to turn it into a South Tyneside unit. The decals on the side, I don't know if you can see that, looking at a closer video, is S, the letters starting in S. So I'm going to have to remove these numbers and put an E and then the long number. And as for the window with the 16 on it, that's got to be blackened out and some dots placed on it, and the numbering on the top there has to be changed for a destination sign. This is a Bachmann unit, so it's a nice looking model, which means I'm going to have to put a third rail into the tracks, or alongside the tracks. So let's continue with the build, shall we? This is what it looks like from above, and as you can see, all the holes have now been sanded up and everything looks all chalky. So the next thing I want to do is paint the platforms. Right, so just before we start painting, the corners are quite sharp, so I'm just going to take the edge off with a fine piece of sandpaper. I think it's 320 grit, just to take the edge off. All the way along both sides. Okay, I'm happy with that. First thing I'm going to do is paint the main platform before I do the edges. So I'm just going to give it a very light grey coloured paint. I've kind of mixed two paints together here. There's masonry cool grey and some sandstone paint as well. Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself as I'm going along that this will just probably be the first coat, because you can still see MDF board behind the paint. So this will just be the first coat, I'd imagine. But it's a nice looking grey. That's one platform done, and one more to go. Alright, almost coming to the end of the first coat. The two colours, I didn't mix them fully, so in some places you see a little bit lighter, a little bit darker in the colours. And also I have added some PVA glue to the paint, which will also seal it good and proper. I'm not too worried if I touch onto the sandstones, because I'll be painting them in a minute. And I don't go too daft and slip and cover the whole lot. Okay, that's the two platforms done. Time to do the Yorkshire Stones. I'm using matte 146 and a dark grey matte 240. So first of all, this is just an experiment. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. So basically I'm just going to paint the edges on this first. And then leave it on for a little while. Now the good thing about it, the pen, where I've scored it, is coming through the paint for the moment. So I'll do about a dozen. Let that soak in. And at the same time I'm doing the edge. Actually, I think I might leave that to dry and see what it looks like after it's dried. I'm slowly coming to the end of the edging slabs on platform 1, and to be honest, I like the colour the way it is. The thing is, it just looks too squeaky clean. So in a minute I'll use the grey to just dirty them up a little bit. Okay, I've left the paint overnight to dry on the stones, and I quite like the way it's turned out, but I'm going to have to give the platforms a second coat, so I'm just going to give this a light rub down and apply another coat of paint, because in some places the MDF is still coming through the paint. So I'm just going to give it a light rub down and another coat. Right, I'm just putting the finishing touches to the second coat. And just to hide the remnants of the MDF. Now the only thing is, doing this to this platform has really shown up all the other platforms on the layout. I'll just quickly show you in a minute. And here are the platforms on Newcastle Station, and as you can see, these were done probably 4 years ago, so my modelling skills have improved with time. So I think all the stations on the layout will need a revamp once South Shields is finished, just to bring them up to date. Right, while I was waiting for the paint on the platforms to dry, I thought I'd just paint in some of the groundwork, the goods yard area, underneath the bridge, and back along the side in here. And when I was finished, there's virtually no paint left on the brush, and the platforms were looking too squeaky clean for my liking. So I just got the brush, there's virtually nothing on it, and just dirtied them up a little bit. can barely see the mug, which is good really. Didn't want them to be too squeaky clean, and then again not too dirty either, finding the balance. Right, I'm just going to weather up these stones. They look too squeaky clean for me. So all I'm doing, virtually nothing on the brush and rubbing it in. And then taking it off. Just making sure that I darken the edge quite a bit. But just enough so that the sandstone shines through. I think I may have mentioned this already. The paint I'm using is matte 240. It's like a really dark browny grey. As you can see, I'm just painting it on the edges, but I won't take any off, but I'll paint it on very, very light. But the slabs, I'm just gently, some of it I'm just putting a little bit on, others I'm just smearing it. And then just get the cotton bud and just smear the paint, really. And straight away they look filthy. This is going to take me an age. Must be hundreds of And the good thing about it is the pen lines are still showing through. I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the last video where I scored that line, and when I came to put the slabs on, I pushed it right up to the line, and as you can see I've already pre-painted the slabs. So all I'm doing now is just give them a little bit of grey wash along that edge where that scored line was put in, and just picking out a few little bits on the stoning, try and highlight the pen marks. And now I'm just going to rub it off. Let's see, it's sunk into the pen marks, and it's also sunk into that scored line. And that looks quite good to me. As you can see, it's highlighted the pen marks and it's actually gone into the scored line along the edge. So, still got a way to go. See you in a bit. That's the slabs finished. The next thing I want to do is cover up the edges of the MDF, and I'm going to cut up some Metcalf card. It's M0050. You can't get it anymore, but you can use M058 as an alternative. What it is, if I can just quickly find the strip, it's this stone. So if you can imagine that underneath them sandstones that I've just painted, it'll look quite effective. So I'll just start cutting some strips up and stick them on. Just a quick measure before we start cutting, and it should be 15 millimeters. Here goes the first piece. I've already pre-cut it, and there's PVA on the back, so it should just slip in there nicely. That finishes it off. That finishes it off nicely. Just putting in the final touches. It's taken me most of the week to do this, just to make sure that the glue takes hold. I'm just using the back of a lollipop stick just to press the card into the MDF. And at the back as well. Right, last piece. Just a bit of PVA on the back. It's plenty on. Anybody think that was made to measure? Right. That's it. Right, now that that's the second stage of the platforms done, let's have a quick recap on how it was done. Right, so we started with the paper slabs on the edge of the platform. Then we painted them in matte 148. After that we toned them down individually with matte 240, and then to finish off we used a dark grey Humbrol wash just to go around the edges of the slabs and in between where we pressed home with the pen, to give that dirty sandy look or weathered look. So that's the platforms done. So the next stage will be to do the ballasting. There's quite a lot of ballasting to do. Here's a closer look of the platforms at the other end of the station. Right, who wants to see the EMU run to the platforms? Okay, just me then. Okay, just before we go, I just got one last thing to say. On the last video I was truly amazed on how many people have actually saw the video and commented. So I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. I don't know what I have done to deserve that amount of attention, but thank you anyway. Right, I think that's all from me this week. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I hope you've learned something, and we'll see you again next week. Hopefully we'll get this station that little bit further down the line and finished. Maybe. Right, thanks guys. See you again next week. Bye for now. Bye.